Welcome to the Generic Tech Support YouTube channel, home of the Granite security package. Like and subscribe for more content. So today is release day for Granite 11. And I say release day in the fact that this is the beta release for the Granite security project. But there is a bonus to the Granite security project that we'll get to in this video. I'm going to ask you guys to do me a favor and not release the key for the Granite security project or for the performance project that I've been working on any other site other than here. You could post this video other places if you want to give people information about the Granite 11 security project as well as the Granite 11 performance project, but please don't provide them with the key directly on the site. I'm trying to build this channel and I'd like to get as many subscribers as I can out of this project so that way I can continue to work on these different security builds and performance builds for different operating systems. Not only Windows, but I'd like to get involved in some of them with Linux as well. Most of you guys are already aware of this, so I'll make this as quick as possible. But if you're looking for the package, if you go to the Generic Tech Support website, which is just generictechsupport.com/channel, and you scroll all the way towards the bottom. At the bottom, you're going to see two different packages here. You're going to see a custom in-house, or rather a in-house custom performance project, or an in-house custom security project. Now, this is where you're going to find the Granite 11 performance package and the Granite 11 security package. So if we go to the security package first, and we scroll all the way to the bottom, we're going to have a link. That's where our actual software is located. So if you click on this link to download the package, it's going to take you to a Google Drive. We'll just click on download. Download anyway. You'll notice that it's not very big. It's only 77 kilobytes. That's all it is for the security package. There is no software associated with this. It's literally just configuration changes on your local machine. So you're not downloading anything in addition other than just the configuration changes that take place for your registry on your machine. Once you have downloaded the actual security package, if you go back to the main site, which again is just #channel, and scroll all the way to the bottom, you're going to see the in-house custom performance projects. If you go to the Windows 11 one, the Granite 11 performance package, and you click on it, it's going to take us to another beta release program here. And if we scroll down, we're going to see that we have an option here to download the Granite performance package. Now again, it's an ultra beta, meaning that the configuration that's in here is raw. And as a result, I can't be held responsible for whatever it does to your machine. I mean, if it screws something up, it's on you. There are instructions on the main site. There's also instructions inside the actual documentation and configuration. And those instructions give you details as to what it does, how it works, and what it doesn't do. You got to keep in mind that since it's ultra beta, what it's going to do is it's going to strip everything out of the machine. And if you don't follow the instructions on the reboot cycle, your machine may boot loop. There's an issue, a bug in the performance configuration that causes a boot loop scenario if you don't reboot after each one of the scripts. So it gives the details in the actual README. It's important for you to follow them. If you don't follow them and you end up in a boot loop situation, sorry about your luck. Once you have the packages downloaded, you're going to need 7-zip. And you have a choice. You could grab 7-zip from the website, or if you just go through here and under Windows Software, you're going to see 7-zip as an option. You can literally just click on it and it'll download the latest version of 7-zip directly to your machine. So let's jump back now to the machine. Presumably, if you're watching this video, you know how to install 7-zip, so I'm not going to go over that in this. What I'm going to do, however, is I'm going to grab the two files out of the downloads directory and I'm going to copy them and I'm going to paste them onto the actual C drive in a folder that I create. And you guys know that I always use tools, so I'm just going to do new folder, tools, and then paste them in here. You could name the folder anything you want. It doesn't make any difference as far as the packages are concerned. Once we have the packages moved, what we're going to have to do now is we're going to actually have to decrypt these things. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to start with the security package, because you have to start with the security package if you're going to run the performance pack. If you do it out of order, you could cause issues, because what happens is if you run the performance package first, it will remove aspects of the operating system, and then when you run the security package, it's going to throw errors because it's configured to secure those packages whether or not they exist. But if you remove them, what it'll do is it'll strip registry items, and when it strips the registry items, the configuration will not work correctly, so don't do that. Run the security package first. In order to do that, just right-click on the security package, go to Show More Options, go to 7-zip, and click on the Extract Granite Security for Windows 11. You're going to get a prompt to enter a password. Enter in the password as shown in this screen. Once you have it entered, just click on OK and it'll extract the package. And there's the extracted package. We're going to double click on it. We're going to see two options in here. We're going to run the first option first, obviously. When you get prompted by UAC, just make sure you click on yes to continue. And you're going to click on yes to restart the system. When the system first loads after the reboot, you should be greeted with this screen, which will say, "Welcome to the generic tech support Granite security beta release. Welcome to Granite security package beta 3 late release for Windows 11." And we're going to click on OK. You do not need a password. It doesn't make any difference whether or not you have a Windows password or not. Once you're in the system, you're going to see on the left-hand side here, we no longer have the search function. Everything is shifted on the left-hand side like the original start menu. Now, I will say that the start menu configuration doesn't work from the older versions of Windows 11, as we discussed in previous video, and that will be something that I'll work on towards the next release of this actual security package. However, the security package does do a lot of pretty neat things. One of them, which is something that I like a lot, is the fact that if I go into System and I go into Notifications and I look, all of the notifications are disabled. So it gets rid of all the notifications with the exception of the things that are built into Defender and built into the Defender firewall. So if you get notified from either of those things, it will notify you. If you get notification for pending Windows updates, it will notify you for that. But it will not annoy you with all the other crap and ads that are inside the Windows 11 operating system. Okay, let's go back into File Explorer real quick, and let's go back into our Tools directory. And once we're in the Tools directory, we're going to see the Granite security package again. And we're just going to right-click and choose Run as Administrator. Now, once we do this, it's going to crash Explorer and close all the windows. That's by design. That's so that way you don't have to reboot in order for the changes to the right-click menu to take effect. So we're just going to choose Run as Admin. Say yes. There we go. It crashed. It came back up. So now if I go into the C drive and into Tools and really anywhere, I'm just going back into Tools because that's where I need to be, and I right-click on something, you'll see that we have now the classic right-click menu. I'm sure somebody's going to comment down below is, why didn't you give us both passwords and not make us watch the video? And the truth is that I spent months on this. And if I take a look at my actual account to see what I made as far as the revenue is concerned for the amount of time I spent on this, I think it comes out to $1.11. So, I mean, the least you could do is just watch the video from the beginning to the end. So that way I feel like at least I got something out of this. All right, so let's do the same thing now for our performance side. And I'm going to right-click on this. I'm going to choose 7-zip. I don't have to now right-click and go to sub-menus and other menus to get to it. I just right-click and it's right there. 7-zip. Choose Extract to the Granite Performance for Windows 11. And we get another notification to add a password. What you're going to do is you're going to enter the password as it's seen on the screen. And just to clarify, that is an I. It's not a 1 or an L. Once you have that written down somewhere and you have it entered, and you're just going to have to click on OK and it will extract the package. So months ago, I reviewed an application called Raven Talon, and it really got next to no reviews or no watches. But in that video, I go over specifically how to add to the Raven Talon package to increase the performance on the machine, and show how you could create your own scripts to increase your machine performance without the need for the Talon package. Something I touch on that video is that the vast majority of all these scripts for performance aspects exist in multiple places on the internet. They are in TechNets, they are in MSDs, they are in Gits, they are everywhere for things that will help you increase the performance of your Windows machine, specifically Windows 11. So what I've done is I created scripts for that video to increase the performance of the machine. I created scripts in that video to stop services and functions, to reduce the overhead and the thumbprint of the machine, basically make the machine lighter weight for the hardware to run it. And that is what the Granite Performance Ultra Beta package is. Because I want to just clarify that the Performance package is an Ultra Beta package. It's Extreme Beta, use at your own risk. Now, I added an additional folder in here called the Emergency. I don't have a browser because I forgot to install one before I removed Edge foot in the mouth option. And in here includes a Firefox installer just in case you don't watch this video or somebody runs this and can't figure out what they have to do at that point to get on the internet, because the package will remove Microsoft Edge. Something to keep in mind, though, is since we ran the Granite security package, Microsoft Edge is not anywhere near as annoying as it used to be. So when you open it up, you could set whatever you want your home page to, but I have DuckDuckGo set for mine. With that said, all the settings inside of Microsoft Edge at this point are configured in a way that it should just function like old school Google Chrome and not be anywhere near as obnoxious to run as prior to running the security package. I don't have this nice and configured neatly and organized like I do in the MSI for the security package. A lot of this required PowerShell commands to work correctly, and unfortunately PowerShell just doesn't really work well with either EXEs or even MSI files. So for the time being, it is a PowerShell based script. It may change into something later, but this is the first package that I put together for performance on Windows 11. So again, it is use at your own risk, but I'm going to run you through what it's going to do. So we're going to click on Start, and we're going to type in PowerShell. Bueller. So you know, this is on me. It's not on the actual script or the configuration. It's because I'm on VMware and sometimes it's a little flaky. But at any rate, I'm going to do the PowerShell ISE. I'm going to right-click. I'm going to do Pin to Taskbar. And then I'm going to right-click on it again and do Run as Administrator. So at that point, what I'm actually going to do is I'm just going to right-click on this thing. I'm going to do Edit in Notepad. I'm going to do Control-A to select all. I'm going to do Control-C to copy it. And I'm going to go back over to my PowerShell, and I'm going to do Control-V. God, I hate PowerShell. I'm going to do Control-V to paste it in. And I'm going to do F5 to run it. And what that's going to do is that's going to actually remove Microsoft Edge. Now, there's a bug in the script that exists that I'm aware of. And the bug specifically has to do with removing shortcuts. Now, this bug also exists in the Talon version, and unfortunately, it seems to be something that has to do with, number one, it's a pin under the HKey current user, and number two, the HKey current user for the shortcut configuration changes between one of the patch revisions in Windows 11, which causes it not to be able to remove those two things. So you just got to delete the shortcut off the desktop and remove the pin off the taskbar. Now, once you do that, you want to close everything that's open. You want to choose No. And then you're going to want to reboot the system. Now, if you don't reboot at this point, you continue on running the rest of those scripts, what'll happen is eventually you'll get to a boot loop situation. And it's only about 50% of the time that it happens. But when the boot loop situation happens, you won't be able to get back into the system. The system will literally just boot itself up and then auto reboot. And then boot itself up and auto reboot. And there's no way back in through the regular GUI without using a PE of some kind to access the system. So for the sake of not running into that, I'm just going to do restart. I don't want to do update and restart. I just want to do restart. So once the system comes back up, we're just going to click on OK to log back into the system. I do want to point out that it's important to note that the Granite security package works in combination with this. And the reason why I say that is because if you don't run the security package first, you run the performance pack, it will not uninstall Microsoft Edge correctly or fully. The reason why it's able to do that is because there are multiple registry key modifications you can make in Windows 11 to allow Edge to be uninstalled. However, the uninstaller for the latest version of Edge doesn't include the ability to remove it. You could run the PowerShell script to remove it, and when you get past the limitation in the application will then take over with the uninstall service to remove the rest of the application from the system. If you don't run the security script first and you run the other script, it will remove Edge from the access point of view, but it's not going to remove all the registry configuration and all the back-end configuration to lighten up the operating system. So it kind of works both ways, but if you want the full uninstall, the security package has to be run first for that to work. We're going to right-click now on our PowerShell ISE again, and then right-click again and choose Run as Administrator, and say yes. And once I have this open again as administrator, I'm going to go back down into my tools directory, into tools, and back into my performance, and back into the Granite package. And now I'm going to right click on this thing. I'm going to do edit notepad. And I'm going to do Control A and Control C. And go back over here and I'm going to do Control V. Now what this is going to do is it's going to remove all the AppX packages. So everything the Microsoft Store automatically installs on your Windows 11 system out of the box. So once you connect the Windows 11 system to an internet connection, it just goes crazy with downloading a whole bunch of crap that you don't need on your machine. This script will remove all of that garbage. Now, keep in mind that there is a difference between name and all users name. All users name, if you go crazy and you do all users name and then just put an asterisk and then remove everything, it will also cause a boot loop because there are actual system configurations now in the app setup on Windows 11. In Windows 10, that didn't exist, but in Windows 11, it absolutely 100% exists. So once we do that, we're just going to hit F5. And we're going to see stuff down here start to shrink away. Okay, so completed. Now at this point, once again, we have to close this out. We'll close this out. I'm going to clean all this garbage up first. And then at this point, we do have to reboot again. So we're going to go shut down or sign out. And we're going to do restart. Again, don't do update and restart. Just do restart. Back up into Windows now. What we're going to do is once again, right-click. We're going to do PowerShell ISE. We're going to right-click and run as administrator. Say yes. Then we're going to go down into the File Explorer. Once again, we're going to go to the C drive. We're going to go back to Tools. We're going to go into the Performance. We're going to do in Performance again. We're going to choose number 3. We're going to right-click. And we're going to do Edit Notepad. We're going to do Control A to select all. And we're going to do Control C to copy. And then we're going to do Control V to paste it. And then once again, we're going to hit F5. So we could see now that it's actually running through the script to disable the state of services that are no longer installed on the system. So the AppX removes the package. This disables the service that's associated with it and then blocks the firewall configuration so that way nothing can access a port that's just open in the firewall with nothing listening on the inside. Now you got to understand that technically speaking, without a listening port, nothing's going to be able to connect. But that doesn't mean something can't probe through the firewall on that port if it's just randomly open. So this just locks down the system and makes some settings changes. At this point, we really don't have to reboot. So we're just going to close this out. Say no. We're going to close this out. And we're going to get here to the disable, the service disable tool. And we're going to right click and do run as administrator and say yes. So the reason why this exists and this exists, because they technically both do the same thing, is that there's a bug, once again, somewhere in the Windows Update world that at one point in the updates, this no longer works for every single portion of the script. Portions of it fail. And this works. But before that update, this works 100% and this does not. So I'm not really sure specifically what the package difference is or what the revision is that causes it from update to update, but at some point it does, which causes an issue, so that's really just a backup. Now, realize that I've, foobarred myself, which is basically I don't have a browser installed on my system. So if I go to Performance and I go back to the emergency, I don't have a browser because I didn't remember to install one. And I right-click on this and I do Run as Administrator and say yes, it's going to download and install Firefox on my system. So at least now I have a browser to get out to the internet. Once it finishes downloading, it's just going to launch the browser with a blank page, which means it's completed successfully. So we could just close this and we could close this. So at this point, the Granite security package and the Performance Ultra Beta package is installed. Some things that I want to bring up. There have been people requesting changes already to the package even before it's released. I have added them into the actual website. And the next beta release, I will fix them, which has to do with the stupid clicking menu garbage inside of the taskbar, and then some other issues with Microsoft Office and running things like the old school way with the right click, as well as the storage locations. So save the previous location where you saved the file, like Microsoft Word file or Outlook or whatever. I'll add that to the next security update from the security package. So that should resolve that issue. If you want to do it yourself, it's already on the generic tech support website, so you could go there and then just go under the Granite security package. You'll see the 2 additional registry adds you could do to change those settings if you want to do them yourself. Somebody's going to ask in the comments, I'm sure, or if they haven't already, why is it that I don't create a batch file to execute the PowerShell scripts as admin? Well, because the security package actually adds the requirement for assigned PowerShell scripts. It won't run unsigned scripts. So you would have to add the bypass configuration into the PowerShell to do that. I don't really want to do that because I'm trying to increase and maintain the security of the operating system while then also increasing the privacy of the operating system in Windows 11. And I think that the security configuration for Granite Security as well as the Granite Performance package really do that well. However, again, they are both in beta. So if you have any ideas for any additional changes, any configuration updates, anything that you run into that you wish that was by default just something that you could double click and run, add me a comment down below. If it's something like long, like could you add these registry changes, send me an email with the registry configuration information in there, and I'll see about getting that added to the next package. Ultimately, just trying to make something that we could double click on that will make the operating system run like Windows 7 used to run. And I think this is a good step in that direction. Also interested in hearing what you guys think of it. Again, leave me something down in the comments. And of course, as always, this is not designed to be run on your daily driver. Please don't do it. Please just install it on a VM or on a hypervisor or something that's virtual that you could test out, because it's 100% unknown with all the variables of all the different operating systems and all the different configurations that everybody has at their house as to what will break. And I guarantee you something will break. And unfortunately, the way the package is built, there is no undo the changes that we're making here. So once you install this, it is what it is. You would have to go through 4,700 registry keys and change zeros to ones and ones to zeros to revert the configuration. So please do not do this unless you're on a test machine. And once again, thank you so much for watching. I wish I could have done a live video today, but it is my birthday, and I really just wanted to go to a bar and have a beer. So thanks again, everybody. You guys have a good one, and thanks for sticking around for the Granite security package. Thank you for watching the Generic Tech Support YouTube channel. Find details and more for these videos at https://generictechsupport.com/#channel.